Want to know the dirt on the Oasis of the Seas? Is she too old? Is she too big? Is the Windjammer too small? All that and more next up on QC Adventures. Hi, I'm Qiana. Welcome back to QC Adventures. Today we're going to talk about the Oasis of the Seas. I recently completed a journey on her in June of 2023, which is currently still June, and I wanted to give you a quick review of the things I loved about her and a couple of things that troubled me or that I thought maybe you should know before you book a trip on Oasis of the Seas. So let's get started. First up, the good stuff. Oasis of the Seas was built in 2007 and she was delivered to Royal Caribbean in 2009. She is the first of the Oasis class, of which she is the namesake, and she was the biggest ship, cruise ship at that time when she was built. Overtaken by her sister ships being a couple meters larger than her, but still one of the biggest ships in the world. Currently, the biggest ship that is sailing is Wonder of the Seas, her sister ship, the last in the Oasis class so far. And then there's a new Oasis ship coming in 2024, which is called Utopia of the Seas. And Utopia will be a primarily 3- and 4-day cruises out of Port Canaveral for Royal Caribbean. And that's going to be the first time that they've done that. So that should be pretty interesting. On board this June, we had cabins 10-148 and 10-149. They were across the hall from each other. One was a standard balcony and the other one was a standard inside. In this particular trip, we had our children with us and another family of 2 children and 2 parents. So they stayed down the hall from us in the same configuration as we did. So I got to look at the 2 interior cabins as well as the 2 balcony cabins. They were very, very similar. We like these balcony cabins because they do have a bump out where the living room is, and that's closer to the balcony area. Some of the cabins on Oasis have the bed closest to the window, and in some of the outside cabins, they have the bed closer to the door. We had the one that was closer to the door, and I like that because I do like to sit on the couch or get ready, and that's by the window, and so that was nice. We did find that it did get really hot in our room when the sun was beating on that side of the ship. The air conditioner really wasn't very good at keeping up with it. I think that's due to the age of the ship, but we'll talk a little bit more about that later. Some really good pros about this ship. It holds 6,000 passengers or more. It's huge, but you never really feel crowded. Of course, on pool days or days, the sea days when everyone's at the pool, yes, there are chair hogs. Yes, there's a lot of people, but you never wait for a drink. We never waited in line at the Windjammer. We never waited in line at guest services, maybe then 1 or 2 people, what you would expect, to wait. So all those things were really, really great. When we sailed out of New York, we came out of New York, the Statue of Liberty was just across from us, so we had a great, great time watching her pass as we sailed out of Cape Liberty. And as we went out underneath the bridge, the funnels on the back of the ship actually shrink down so that they can fit under the bridge. So that's a really cool note, especially if your kids are into stuff like that, or you have a husband or yourself that likes to see engineering, things like that. It was really cool. There's lots of activities on the Oasis of the Seas, and I think that's the other pro. If you're a family of multiple people or a friend group of multiple people, there's really an activity for everybody. There's zip lining, the flow rider, basketball courts. I played pickleball a couple mornings on the ship. So those of you who are new to pickleball or have been playing pickleball for a while, you can play. When I was on ship, it was 8 to 10 most mornings, and we had a great time playing. And there was a lot of people playing, people waiting in line to play. So it was a great time to get a couple games in while we were on the ocean. There's the ice skating rink, and my favorite activity on the ship, which I didn't think was going to be my favorite, was the escape room. What? An escape room on a ship? But it's true. They have an escape room. It is patterned after NASA, so it's like the Houston's control room. So all the panels are there, and you have to solve these puzzles and find certain things in the room that let you launch off, your rocket or whatever spaceship they're trying to launch that day. So you're on a time crunch basically to get all the puzzles solved all the answers and get all the machines working in the room so that you can launch your vehicle. It was a lot of fun. We took our whole party of 8, plus there was 4 more people, so I think the total capacity is 12. We made friends with our other passengers. We had a great time, and it was my highlight of the cruise. I had never done anything like that, and it was super fun. So I would definitely recommend it if you have a group that you would like to do that with, or if you want to do it with just 1 or 2 of you, you will be combined with another group. But it was the highlight of my trip, so that's definitely on my pro list. The other pros for Oasis of the Seas was the crew. So this has been my first cruise back on Royal Caribbean, not my first cruise back, but my first cruise on Royal Caribbean since the pandemic. And I've been hearing all sorts of things. They changed their menu, it's not good, the crew is not trained, that they're not good. And nothing could be further from the truth when we went on our trip. And that was our experience, was that the crew was amazing. We met not one person that was grumpy or didn't want to be there. Everyone was happy to see us, happy to help us. And there was always someone there waiting to get us a drink. I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. The service was really, really great. Our dining room service was great. They took very good care of us. They knew what we liked to drink. They knew what we liked to eat. They did a great job. So I would say crew, 5 out of 5. They really did a great job on Oasis of the Seas. And that was not what I was hearing before I went. So I was really happy to find that. And the same thing goes for the food. As we all know, there was a change in the menu recently on Royal Caribbean where they cut back a lot of variety. And so it's kind of more of a streamlined menu. We never had a problem finding something to eat on the main dining room menu. It was great. Everything we ate was delicious. I didn't have a disappointment on any dish that I ordered. And a couple nights I tried a couple appetizers or, a salad and an appetizer and an entree. So we ate all the things. It wasn't like we only had one thing and it was good. We ate there all week and we had a great time. Because we were a large group, we didn't plan on doing any specialty dining. We ended up having to do or getting the opportunity to do the captain's table, which was amazing. And if you get a chance to do it, we paid a reduced rate because they were selling it on the day that we went, and we didn't have any reservations, so it was easy just to go. So we did pay for a reduced rate than what is listed on the website, but it was wonderful. The chef comes out between every meal, every course, tells you about the course, and then you get a wine that gets paired with it. So we had a great time, and they even made special cocktails because we did have our kids with us. They made juice cocktails for the kids so that they would have something to drink during the wine tasting parts, which was so much fun. Those were all my really, really good pros for the Oasis of the Seas. Well, what's the cons? What could possibly be wrong? If the food is great and the service is great, there's so many activities, what are the cons? Well, here's the deal. Every ship has cons, right? There's certain things that I like or certain things that you don't want to see on a ship. And in this case, I'm going to say that the age of the ship is my first con. The age of the ship, well, it's not that old, but in shipbuilding terms, it is kind of old. And you could see that when you look around the ship. If you've seen one of my other videos, you notice that I point out that the size of the televisions in the staterooms are tiny. We're just used to giant TVs everywhere you go. I mean, we have a giant TV on our back porch, a giant TV in our basement. We're just used to that size TV everywhere you go, your doctor's office, everywhere. So seeing these little TVs that are like, 24 inches across in the staterooms, it's not what's on the newer ships. So I think the ship there is showing its age with those tiny televisions. The color of the walls and the color of the woodwork also give a little bit of her age away. It has that yellowy tinge that we used to see 20 years ago when ships were made. Now everything's more white and gray and neutral. So you will see that. Now I will note that the rugs in our room, the flooring in our room, and our couch were new. So they were a grayish color. The couch was absolutely spotless and brand new. So I really don't think that was, not redone. I think that was redone. It's just that the harder surfaces like the woodwork, our balcony door was a little janky on opening and closing it. It got stuck. You had to use 2 hands and push it out a little bit to kind of make it go over because it wasn't riding on its track correctly. We reported that, but it didn't get addressed really. So that's just age. That's what that is. Other things that I didn't think were so good. The Windjammer. Now the Windjammer food was great, and like I said, we didn't wait in any lines there, but it was crowded. And it was crowded because of the size of the Windjammer, not because the crew wasn't doing their job or that everybody was there when they shouldn't be, like all at one time. It's really a small physical area for the amount of passengers on this ship. You know, it just is. And they know that too, because they've redone the Solarium Bistro to have the same food as the Windjammer. When it used to be like more spa and like healthier foods, they've just kept the same foods from the Windjammer to make it like a second location for you to have lunch or breakfast. So I think they know it's super tiny. The food was great, and you know, I had a great time eating there, but you could feel that it's a smaller space than on some other ships. Now here's one that's personal to me. If you sailed on Royal Caribbean of the past, where they had the Viking Crown Lounge, or you sailed on Celebrity, where they have the suite lounges that look out over the ocean and you could sit on a beautiful couch or a chaise lounge and sip your cocktail and look at the ocean, then you know what I'm missing here. I'm missing direct views of the sea. Oasis class and Oasis of the Seas has so much activity and so many venues. A lot of them are facing the interior promenade, and that's inside the ship. A lot of them are facing Central Park, which although is outside and full of greenery, is still not facing the ocean. So I think a lot of spaces on this ship are just, frankly, you can't see the sea. Even the back of the ship that's open to the open air and the boardwalk has the aqua show in front of you. So you can't really see the ocean while you're there unless there's really nothing going on in the aqua theater. There's some vantage points that you can see the back of the ship. But overall, it's hard. If you want to sit inside in air conditioning, read a book, drink a cocktail, and look out at the ocean, you're going to be doing that in your stateroom. Now, there is the solarium, which is supposedly has views of the whole ocean. It is semi-indoors, and obviously you can get a cocktail there. But the views are not great. The canopy that goes over the solarium on Oasis, it blocks a lot of the view. So you don't get those sweeping views of the ocean unless you go out on the front of the solarium, which is not covered, not under the canopy. There's a little area, like an outdoor deck outside of the glassed area. And that area has great views of the ocean on the front of the ship, but you are out in the weather, out in the sun. There is no shade there. So that's what I missed. I missed the Viking Crown Lounge. Call me old, but I do. I missed it. So those are my real things that I thought were the pros and the cons of Oasis of the Seas. Did I hit on any of the ones that you think are the pros and the cons? Are you worried about a specific part of the ship that I didn't talk about? Let me know in the comments, and we can get a real discussion on what the pros and the cons are for the Oasis and the other members of her class. So that's my rundown of our review of the Oasis 10148 and 149. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please help us grow our channel. It really means a lot to me that you would like it and subscribe. And leave a comment down below so that I could hear what you think about Oasis of the Seas. It's been a pleasure. It's been magical. We'll see you later next time on QC Adventures.